Big question is, how is Governor Oti going to bring his banking experience to revolutionize this state? Your Excellency, pleasure to have you on the show.
Nice to have you in Abia. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
Welcome from Washington. Was it Washington?
Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much.
I was watching you on the screen.
Thank you so much.
Tried to wave. You didn't respond.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Welcome.
Your Excellency, you got here by the grace of God and your campaign, but most importantly, a very important woman, that great professor at INEC that decided not to compromise. You want to say something about that great woman and state her name extensively, because we live in a country where we don't celebrate heroes.
Thank you very much. And I want to start by welcoming you once again to Abia. Thank you for the first question, because you are very right. A lot of times we don't celebrate people. And I've had time to actually say good things about her. I didn't know her from Adam. Never met her. And when she was selected for that role, that was just like 48, 72 hours before the election. So I was a bit scared because when she was appointed Vice Chancellor of Federal University of Technology, Owerri, I tried to reach out to her because she bears the same surname. She's Oti, Professor Nnenna Oti. So, and I guess that was 2021. So I got her number, tried to call her, she didn't respond. I sent a text message congratulating her, she didn't also respond. So I just said, okay. I left her. And 2 years later, she was now going to be the returning officer. But then, most importantly, I left everything in the hands of God. And then the election came. If you recall, I've been in this process since 2015. And a particular local government was always used to falsify the results of the election. And that's Obingwa. Again, in 2019, it happened. So 2023, the election, it was clear that I was going to win the election again. And as the results kept trickling in from the different local governments, the tally was increasing. I mean, the difference was increasing. And what they did at that time was just to wait. So at some point when they thought enough local governments had come in, they falsified the result, moved it to 80,000, from there to 90,000, it ended at 108,000. But then this woman rejected those falsified results and said she was going to stick to the results that came from the polling units. And the rest now is history. So we cannot tell the story of the changes that have happened in Abia State, the new Abia, as we call it, without a reference to Professor Nnenna Oti. We thank God for her. So I strongly believe that the hand of God was in the whole process. It was God that brought her. So my tribute to her. Thank you.
So on one hand, Alex Otti here is praising the professor, the INEC returning officer for Abia State that made sure that only legitimate votes counted during the 2023 election. On the other hand, the appeals court is actually remanding another professor who helped to rig an election in Akwa Ibom State in 2019 on behalf of the current Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, as it is being alleged, even though he's trying to deny it. I've been talking about professors helping politicians to rig elections. That's why this caught my attention, and that's why I wanted to talk about it, because this awareness thing covers everything else, and not just the corrupt politicians, but everybody involved in the electioneering process. Let's break down what Alex Otti talked about here. First thing, If you're meeting this content for the first time, like, share, and subscribe. And if you've been following us and you've not subscribed, please do so. And also watch this today and then recommend this channel to others. It is important that we know that and we start to take this change to everybody that is involved in the electioneering process, from the guy who is going to transport the paperwork or the ballot boxes to the guy who will collect them, to the returning officer who will announce the results, and it gets to the federal level before it is finally declared. Every process involved needs to be called out, and every process involved needs to be sensitized, and everybody involved needs to be aware that they play a significant role, however small it seems to look like. In the hallmark of an Abia State tomorrow, even though she's not the governor right now, but it shall be spoken of her that Professor Nnenna Oti played a significant role in helping to shape Abia State to what it is today. And this is what we always talk about: a good name is better than gold and silver. That Professor Peter that's helped rig election in 2019 in Akwa Ibom State is a professor, but his name is tainted. To what value after you've gotten the money? Because initially, it will always look fine and nice to get the money from the politicians. But you know the thing about conscience? No matter how seared most people's consciences are, the question is always the same. At some point, you've got to realize they will prick you. Your conscience will always trouble you to say you've done the wrong thing. See, why our politicians get away with this? That they've done it so much so it's become part of them. So it's like they've deadened their conscience to not know what is good anymore, what is bad. They just do it and get away with it. But in the end, they'll always come back to say, I wish I don't do it. But they've caused a lot of trouble. So if you cast your mind back to when she announced the result, she also mentioned that they threatened her severally. They threatened that. That's what politicians do. And this is one thing I've said to you already before. Especially this to the politicians, and this is to also, especially to the returning officers. When they lose this election, they cannot do anything. They can only do what they can do when they're in power. But when they lose, they can't do anything because it's chaos for them. Now they've lost, they have to go and regroup again. And I'm saying this to all of the other states and even to Abia State. They're coming back next election. They will come back and try to steal the election again one more time. Remember, they've already sent Uzo Kalu to start coming in. They're going to come back one more time again to try and steal the election from the people. And the people must return en masse to make sure that they don't hand over their state into the hands of these criminals who are parading themselves as politicians. So you can see what I've been trying to say for a while, that once you don't help them rig this election, when they lose, they can't do anything because they always threaten. First of all, they come, they give you money and say, we'll bribe you. And then if you don't take the money, they will say they will threaten you. And when they don't, people fall for their threat anyway. They always fall for the threat. But when you don't fall for the threat, you do the right thing. They lose. They don't do nothing. They have no power. They're out of it. They're out of the way. They have no power. It is the power of the people they use to threaten the people, and that's why, as us Nigerians, as we're speaking up, they're afraid because they know that if the day we become awakened to the kind of country that we want and we demand it and work and fight to get that kind of country, they will lose the grip. There are only about 3,000 of them, as speculated by Hakim Baba Ahmed, that's his brother. There's not about 3,000 of them. And the only thing they used to get away with it is using government apparatus, the police, the army, the military, to get away with it. They threaten, they shoot, and they kill. Because you know that the mandate did not come from the people. You force it. When you forcefully take something from the people, you have to forcefully retain it. And the only way you can retain the things you forcefully took off of the people is to pressurize them and kill them. And that's exactly what our politicians do. So again, let's go back again, because this is particularly dedicated to people who are rigging elections for politicians, people who they're using to send and pay bribes, people who they're using to go and bribe voters during the election day to say, vote, show me what you voted to, I will give you 5,000. I'm telling all of you, Nigeria is where it is today. It's not by mistake we're where we are today. Nigeria is where Nigeria is today because we permitted it. Whether knowingly or unknowingly, we all are involved. The reason why I'm particular about this content is because for so long I kept quiet. And now I'm making sure that I speak up. Just so that tomorrow, perhaps somebody will hear the voice and say, yes, I believe what is said. I'm not going to do that anymore. And that's how we change people. That's how we sensitize people. We deserve better as a nation. We are supposed to be on top as a nation. We have the people, we have the brains, we have the resources, we have the land. Nigeria's land is good for agriculture. Nigeria's land has a lot of natural resources. Nigeria has people. What it needs is leadership to fuse everything together. And what we have is bad leadership, plagued with corruption. People who cannot see beyond tomorrow, they are beyond today. They can only see beyond, they can't see beyond their pockets. That's where we are, blinded by corruption, not knowing that the better countries were better than a rich man who cannot travel out of his house. That's why they use security everywhere they go, because they made the country so unlivable. They need security to help them move around. And they cannot live in other country because there's no other way they will spend their stolen money but in Nigeria. So again, I say, look at Dr. or Professor Nnenna Oti, to all the other professors who they're using to steal elections. You're better than these politicians. You're smarter than these politicians. You should be more righteous than these politicians. Don't become a tool for them to keep stealing elections. Because there's no way Akpabio will rig election by himself. He needs somebody to help facilitate it. There's no way Tinubu will rig election by himself. He needs to put people in place to rig it, people who are willing. When we are unwilling to rig elections for them, we will get the right people in there. We will change the laws to what we want it to be. Now, to everyone, this is what I've been resoundingly saying. Everyone who's thinking that this current assembly, this 10th assembly, this 10th Senate will change the election laws, they're joking. If they change the election laws, Tinubu will lose the election. APC will be wiped out of power. Why would you think they want to do that? If you're thinking the judiciary will do the same, you're joking. They've been compromised. And they know they can use the state weapons because they know they've been bribed. Remember when Pojo Yemade said something? I think it was Pojo Yemade. I can't remember the other man's name as well. I can't remember, but correct me. When he said he had when they called him to come and work for the government, he didn't collect any money. So one of the things he said was that, I don't think it was Pojo, I think it was somebody else, but I can't remember his name anymore. And he said that they can't hold him on anything because they can't say that he stole or you stole money from them. They keep record of the things that you do. When they bribe you, they know they keep record of it. Let's stop enabling corruption in our country. So I've spoken to extensively on this. Returning officers, bear in mind, you play a significant role. If you're the one writing the election result at the polling booths, you play a significant role. To not let them use you to write election results. The consequences is for all of us to suffer. Some of the people who have died are family members of those who they used to rig elections. Yet the politicians are still the one there. Look at the one that rigged the election in Akwa Ibom for Akpabio, as has been alleged. He's the one in prison. Akpabio is the one riding in convoys. He's the one traveling to go and pay final respect to the Pope when he was laid to rest. But the professor is in prison. And who is distancing himself from the professor? Akpabio. Stop rigging election for politicians, professors. Stop rigging election for politicians, professors. Let's make our election process be free, fair. Politics is not by force. Power is not by force. It is given by the people and will be sustained by the people. Power stolen can only be sustained by thefts as well and by force. We deserve a better working nation. Don't let these guys keep using you to steal elections. And that's how they remain in power anyway. So I just wanted to talk about this one today, just so that we all can start bracing up for 2027. Listen, for Nigeria to work, we all have to be part of it. So if you're meeting this content for the first time, please recommend it to others. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you've been following us and you've not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? Like, share, subscribe, and join in the comment section. Let us know what we need to add it to our content to make it better so we can reach more people. As always, God bless you and catch you up in the next video. Bye-bye for now.